Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I just really wanted to film a video all about Kingsley and like his routine and what he eats. So first thing is my husband will wake up pretty early, and then he usually wakes me up, I want to say around 7:30 or 8 o'clock. I immediately will grab Kingsley and change his diaper and bring him downstairs. Usually before he's even opened his eyes, I bring him downstairs, and the reason why is because he sleeps in my bed since his crib is not set up yet, and I do not leave him in the bed unattended. So I'll bring him right down, and he'll typically hang out in my arms for a little while until he's awake. And it takes a little while, but once he fully wakes up, that's when he kind of just hung out around the coffee table for a little while. And then after about 20 or 30 minutes is when I'll give him his first bottle. And I do like to wait a little while because he breastfeeds in the early morning, so he's not starving right away. So his first bottle of the day is typically a 6 ounce, just because he's not super hungry and his stomach is just not as expanded. So he's just definitely not like a morning eater. I don't feed him any like foods at this time or even for a few hours in the day. So he just has a bottle. Usually I'll just hang out with him with this and sit next to him and drink my coffee. I'll usually end up having to feed him this bottle just because he is so lazy and won't hold it himself in the mornings. It'll take him a little while and he'll just lay here and hang out even after he's done. And then slowly he'll start to sit up and start to get more and more excited and ready for playtime. Once he is up and playing, he'll play for probably about 2 or 3 hours. He'll just like hang out on the floor and play with all of his toys. One of his favorite things to do is to pull himself up onto things. So mainly the coffee table, it's like his absolute favorite place to be is standing at the table, and it is so sweet. I'll constantly like switch out toys that are in front of him and things like that. But since it is still early, I am just refilling my coffee, and then I'm just going to kind of like sit and watch him play for a little while and just hang out with him. We do have Baby Bum Bum on in the background, so that's what he's watching. It's really cute because it's just like nursery rhymes, so it just sings basically, and he loves it, and it's nice to have some noise in the background since we're kind of here alone during the day. Yeah, so he'll just play for a little while, and then soon, once I finish my coffee, I will get down on the floor and get involved. I will help him get like other toys out and help him get his books. Typically, I try to read him 1 or 2 books a day, but he also just really likes to play with them by himself. Just flipping them around and putting them in his mouth is one of his favorites. He just loves his books, and he also really likes it when I stack up his blocks and let him knock them down. I don't know what it is, but it's so adorable. So after playtime, usually around 10:30 or 11, he will be ready for his first nap of the day, and I do like to strap him in his car seat for this. He will have a bottle at this time as well. I will give him another 6 ounce bottle and prop it up in his car seat with him, but somehow I lost that footage. And then I just put Baby Bum on as well, so that way it can sing to him, and he usually falls right to sleep. I also like this because if I have any errands to run, this is the time that I'll do it, and it doesn't mess with his schedule, and he's still in his car seat and used to that. This just really works for him. His car seat really relaxes him, and he just falls right to sleep. I also like to clean up his toys after each playtime, so that way next playtime they're nice and organized and in front of him, so he can easily get to them and easily see them. Today he didn't nap too well at this time. He normally will nap for, I want to say like 2 hours, but he slept for maybe about 30 minutes because I decided to vacuum, and that was just a really bad idea. So when he woke up, he was pretty grumpy. So I gave him some snacks, and I started with these Gerber organic like crackers, but he just wasn't really having it today, so I decided to give him some strawberries, and he did really enjoy those. So that definitely brightened up his mood. I did have to end up moving his high chair to the top of the coffee table though, just so that way the strawberries wouldn't fall on the floor. Typically we would eat like at a dining room table, but since we've moved into this house, we just haven't set it up yet. So he just kind of eats kind of in the living room or anywhere that I'm at. So once he was done with his snack, he was ready for some more playtime. So he played for probably about another, I want to say, hour, and then he was ready for a bottle. He did get a lot more exercise this time and walked around a lot more, got his tractor out and everything like that. But then he laid down with a bottle. I gave him another 6-ounce bottle, and I just laid him on his boppy on the floor. And he drank that for probably about 20 minutes or so. He did not fall back to sleep, even though he really should have, but that's just not in his schedule, so he didn't. So after his bottle was over, he was pretty grumpy still, but he wasn't like awake enough to play. So I decided to put him back in his chair and feed him some more food, because that's always fun for him. So I chopped up some avocado and I put that in front of him just for him to feed himself and get a little bit of practice in. And he had a lot of fun with this too, just practicing picking up the food with his thumb and his finger. Like his doctor told me to like let him be practicing to do that. So that was really good for him. And he's doing so good at it too. So yeah, he liked these a lot. And then so I decided to grind up some more avocado and some strawberries together and feed that to him. So I've been grinding a lot of his foods up lately. I kind of stopped buying like the pouches of baby food and the jars of baby food because I just kind of don't trust them and they kind of just scare me. So I started making all of his food on my own with like a grinder. So I just do all different kinds of fruits and vegetables. I mainly try to go organic. So these are organic strawberries, organic avocados. I was gonna do banana as well, but I just figured I wouldn't because I noticed the more flavors I mix in, the less he likes them. And I've actually been really struggling to find a good flavor combination for him, one that he like absolutely loves. But this was like the first one that he really did like. So I got really excited about it. But you'll see in a second that he did really enjoy it. And even though he liked it, it didn't really last that long. He is honestly just so grumpy today because his nap just got messed up. So I just was really struggling to even feed him. So yeah, he was done with it pretty quickly. And then I just decided to put it in the fridge and save it for later. And he did end up eating it for dinner as well. So after he was done eating, I got him cleaned up. I ended up having to take his shirt off because it was messy and he was just so tired. So I didn't even bother trying to put a new one on him. And I brought him right over to the couch with his blankets, and I tried to snuggle him and get him to fall asleep. And it took a long time, but he did end up falling asleep. And it is about 4 o'clock now at this time. So he did finally fall asleep, and then we ended up having to run an errand, which did take a little while. So I ended up picking up dinner for my husband and I, and we ended up eating out. So this is right after we got home from our errand. It's probably about 6:30 or 7 o'clock at this time. And he is in his jammies and just having a little bit of playtime. I like to let him play in the later evening like this to just kind of wear out all of his energy so he can get sleepy and get ready for bed. So he did play for quite a while. And as you can tell right here, he started to get very grumpy again, and it was only like 7:30, so it wasn't quite his bedtime. I try not to let him go to sleep until about 8:30. Otherwise, it's just too early, and he ends up waking up and being up for hours after that because he gets like a cat nap in. So instead of laying down with him, I decided to feed him the rest of his lunch, which was that avocado and strawberries that I grinded up for dinner, since he kind of missed dinner because we were in the car. So he's eating that now and didn't want very much of it. So I decided to swap it out and start feeding him some snacks. So I brought out these banana cookies, which these are good. He really likes them, but I noticed that they're really hard for him to eat. Like, they take him a very long time, and then he ends up just dropping them before he even gets like any of it down. So after that, it didn't last very long. I decided to feed him some different snacks, and he really, really loves these little like the little dissolvable crackers that they make for them, and the yogurt melts too. That's what I fed him, and he loved those a lot. Totally eats them, eats all of them, and he's so good at it too with feeding himself. So that's what I gave him. So he wasn't done eating yet, so I decided to give him one of these like teether things just for fun, just because they look like they're really fun for him to chew on, and they probably feel good against his teeth. So I gave him some of these to kind of play with and chew on, just to entertain him for a little bit longer, because it was almost bedtime, but not quite yet. And after that, since it was just about 8 o'clock, I decided to give him a bottle. Now, this bottle he had in 8 ounce because it had been a little while since he had a bottle. So I gave him an 8 ounce, and then he drank that for probably about 20 minutes or so. And then after that, we turned the lights out because it was almost 8:30, and I just snuggled him up. At this time, he did breastfeed just to like soothe him and make him fall asleep. He doesn't really breastfeed to like eat necessarily, as he does just out of comfort. So he breastfed for a little while, and then he fell asleep. And this is kind of how our evenings always end. Me and my husband will sit on the couch, and he'll be sleeping in one of our arms, and we will watch TV or something like that for a few hours before we end up going to bed. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below and give me some input and some feedback, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.